Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. If you missed it last night, the Tampa Bay Lightning fall behind 1-0, come back and win. Series is now 2-1. They play again Wednesday night. In college baseball, the Ole Miss Rebels are on a tear. They blast my Hogs that I picked to win the World Series. So them in Oklahoma sit at 2-0. We got a couple elimination games today. Arkansas and Auburn, an SEC team, will be going home. But other than that, not a whole lot else is going on in the sports world. So what we're going to do is we're going to head to the Titan MR hotline and travel down to the big town of Ocala, horse country. And you got a big horse, Buddy Martin. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Shane. Looks like I'm talking to a green phone right now, but that's okay. I mean, I know you're on the road. You're a busy guy. Glad to have you on the program last night. We covered a lot, and we can cover a lot today. And yes, how about them Ole Miss Rebels? Bad karma for you, Shane, picking against your home state like that. And now people are making comparisons to Mississippi being like Alabama is to the state of Alabama.
Well, I didn't really pick against the Rebels. JC and I, we do a Peachland Industry pick on about every sport there is. There's a left side of the bracket, a right side of the bracket. And what's interesting is, for whatever reason, at the Men's College World Series, they don't flip sides when you lose, whereas in the Women's College World Series, they flip sides. So we both picked who we thought were going to play in the championship series. I picked A&M versus Arkansas, with Arkansas winning it all. However, I did say that my heart is with the Rebels. Wouldn't it be great for the state of Mississippi to go back-to-back national champs in baseball? Man, they're just playing unbelievable baseball right now. They have not lost a game, buddy, since they lost in the basically the play-in game there in Hoover, which is day one. If you lose, you go home. And they have not lost since. It's crazy. And they were the last team in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I watched that special finally last night on Mississippi State winning it all a couple of years ago, and I got to tell you, it's impressive. You knew all that because you obviously followed the baseball in the state of Mississippi. But what a story they had there, and what a great tradition they built. And as you talk about all the time, the Gators got a great ballpark. They got to get the atmosphere, and the people have got to start stepping up and showing up, because every game now we saw the regionals, there was a sellout of 6,000, here and there. And college baseball, and particularly in the SEC, has never been better at this point in time. And so, as evidenced by the fact that so many teams made it. And now, how about Auburn? I watched that game and watched the come charging back in a loser's bracket to win that game. And the big first baseman, I thought they were saying Sonny and Cher the whole time. Sonny DeShera. He's the Charles Barkley of baseball. He's a transfer, buddy. You know where he played? This is his first year at Auburn. He came from Sanford. Yeah,
and it just goes to show there's so many good players around the country. Back to you were talking about the baseball in the state of Mississippi. Baseball in several venues, and they were talking about it last night on the telecast, how it's a huge atmosphere there in Omaha, but the SEC teams, they're used to playing in front of a large crowd, but more of a hostile, loud type crowds. And you mentioned the Gator with Condren Ballpark, which is phenomenal. Buddy, I love my Gators, but they're never going to have the atmosphere in baseball like Ole Miss, LSU, Arkansas, Mississippi State. They just never will. It's a shame. And I don't know how they get it. People want to say there's more to do in Gainesville than those towns. That's not true. They're all college towns. Now, the only difference between what you can do in Gainesville and Oxford and in Starkville and Fayetteville and places like that is you can drive one way or the other and go to the beach. Right? You have either the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic Ocean, hour and a half, 2-hour drive. Well, all those towns I just mentioned, they don't have the beach and the oceans and the Gulf, but they have plenty of lakes that they can go to. So I just don't know if we'll ever have that atmosphere at Conjuring Ballpark.
Shane, as a former Gator baseball letterman, I want you to know I resent that remark. Okay, don't say never.
Well, I mean, it's a fact, though, buddy.
Well, it's not a fact; it's an opinion.
Okay, so you would say whether it was McKeithen or Conjuring Ballpark in the last 30 years, the atmosphere at those games are the same as the atmosphere in Starkville, Oxford, Fayetteville, Baton Rouge, and even now Knoxville, Tennessee?
It's not what I said, Shane. You said they'll never have it.
I don't know how they're going to get it if they've never had it.
Well, you sound a little bit like a guy who around 1990, when Spurrier came to Gainesville, to say, well, he'll never win the SEC. He just can't beat those other big teams. He'll never fill up that stadium. Don't say never. It's a long time. Now, I get what you're saying. And yes, it is set up now to see. And, and Sully's not out of the mud yet, a little bit. There are a few people who are rumbling about what happened, how he handled pitchers, how come it took so long to get certain guys in the lineup. I heard a little bit of information about that from a friend of mine who's got a connection with the team. But you know what? That's the trouble we got to be careful about here. And I hate to sound like a homer with this cowbells and whatever, but loyalty is a big deal to a program. And as you know, we talked about it last night, and I asked you at the time, what makes a program? What makes it a school? It's not just the alumni. It's not just the coach. It's a tradition of winning, yes, but what makes it is the people who are in it. And that is all the above, but it's basically the fan base and the coaches who you don't have to be blindly loyal. You can criticize coaches. They make mistakes. They're human, but you're in it together. And I think the fact is that what we're sadly lacking today, that maybe we need is the glue, Shane, to hold these programs together. It is really loyalty. And what is loyalty? I guess we could spend the whole program talking about that. But with the turmoil going on right now, Shane, all the things we've gone through with NIL, transfer portal, people getting upset about it, greed, whatever you want to call it. The fact is, I don't care what you say, you can't play just for money and fame. You have to have other principles. And what makes great teams is a body of people who are always there and are always supporting your program, no matter what, as the old saying goes for Gators, in all kinds of weather. And sometimes Gator fans don't suffer bad weather very well, as we know. You've been a part of it, Shane. You played there. The fan base has got to wake up and realize it's really them. They're going to be here when the next coach comes and Billy Napier is gone. They're going to be here when this class leaves. They're going to be here on and on and on. And they've got to decide, are they in or are they not in? In my opinion, then that's what needs to happen to fan bases all over the country. Renew your commitments, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, whether it is what it is. And I think loyalty is a missing element that can make or break a program.
No, I agree with everything you said there. I think the fan base obviously is very important to any program, and that's what we'll get back to football in just a second. Dan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law, Tennessee, Arkansas, and A&M were packed for their regionals and super regionals. Gainesville, not so much.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get it. I got a ways to go.
Yeah, and Joseph says, I'm afraid it may be that way even for football QB. I think you and I both agree our student demographic is way different in Gainesville. We got to start letting the homegrown kids back in school. That's a whole nother show. I get on my kick about that. It's not even close to how it should be. quite honestly, when it comes to admissions. But back to the football. Yeah, buddy, I mean, look, it doesn't matter if you're a Gator fan, Florida State fan, Miami, Alabama, wherever you are, there's gonna be people bitching and complaining, year in and year out. There's only one team that's usually happy at the end of the year. But what I will say is, what makes up Florida football, obviously we have a great fan base, and that fan base is even better when you're winning games. There's no question. But for the fans that are sitting here criticizing Billy Napier and his staff for not landing any 5 stars as of today, it's ridiculous. And I've talked about it. You can't convince a kid. I mean, maybe you can with the NIL and just basically stroking a check. But kids, when you're a big time recruit, it's different now. Throw out granddad played at Florida, my dad played at Florida, my uncle played at Florida. I'm going to Florida. Them days are over. So when you look at the recruiting way it works now, these highly recruited kids want to go play at a high level and play for a championship. And that's why you see the Ohio States, the Clemsons, the Georgias, Alabamas of the world. They're getting those 5 stars. Florida can't get them until they put a product on the field that is worthy. And I don't know if I talked about it on my show yesterday or your show or another show, but I go back to, you always like to go back to when Steve Spurrier, the golden child, came back to the University of Florida and turned the football program around. Well, whether it was me or whoever else, if we did not play well in 1990, 91, and 92, win games in a fun playing style, a fun type of offense to play in, there would have never been a Fred Taylor. There never would have been a Rex Grossman or a Danny Werfel or an Ike Kwesi or Riedel, because they would have gone somewhere else. So we have to be patient. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be until year 3 until Billy Napier has an SEC quality competitive roster.
Well, you make good points. I don't agree with everything you said, because your old coach wouldn't agree with it either. He didn't say that when he arrived in 1990. And remember, it was yeah, I know you played there.
He had a loaded roster, did he not? And he said,
he did say that.
We won't. He didn't or did?
He did say that.
Yes. So he had a loaded roster, but he said in year 3, we're going to be very young and we may not be as good. Well, Billy Napier, he ain't going to tell you he's got a loaded roster, because if he is, he's blowing smoke out of his mouth, because they're not. And so that's what I'm saying is, you got to be patient with him. They will get the 5 stars now. With the facility is going to help. They will get them. They may not get them this year. Jaden Rashada may not sign or commit to the Gators Sunday. We don't know what's going to happen there. But if he doesn't, all hell's going to break loose on Twitter, is it not, buddy?
No doubt about it. And that's what I'm saying. You got to get a grip. Of course, Florida's program needs validation right now, and they will get that 5-star or 1 or more. But meanwhile, you're forgetting something. They signed the other offensive lineman yesterday, and the offensive line Napier's brought in, listen to this, averages about 6'5", 330. All right? And he's building this program. Yes, Rashada would be a great pick, a big find, whatever. They got a 4-star on their roster, by the way, Miller, just in case you didn't notice. And a guy, if he was out today, he'd be a 5 who will be starting. But you cannot fall in love with the bright, shiny thing all the time. It's okay to want the best players. It's okay to covet a 5-star. But if you build your program around that, you're going to fail, and because you can't measure up to that. So what is there about this picture that's wrong? The thing is expectations are high, and they should be, and Billy Napier does not discourage them. And Coach Spurrier, before he ever coached a game, nobody had any idea he was going to be that great a coach. I've known him all his practice all his life, and believe me, nobody thought he would be that successful. He came in, he preached the gospel. What happened? People believed it. They believed it, and yes, he was loaded with talent. And you're right about the roster, but you've got to start somewhere. You got to start with, do you have the right man hired? In my mind, 100%. Probably in yours as well. Is it going to happen overnight? No. But piece by piece, he's building his program. There's an old saying, I guess Ford Motor Company had it back in the day, built to last. That's what I'm saying over and over about Billy Napier. I don't know how well he can coach. I just know he's a measure twice, cut once guy. And everybody I've talked to, Shane, you talked to a bunch of, I've now talked to 17 football players, Ben Troop and I have, every one of them. If there's that, maybe they're fooling me, but they are very excited to play for their coach. That radiates with other people, including recruits. They know it. They see it. They see the loyalty. This is what he has to build off of. If Florida fans will just give him a chance. You can't get there by firing your coach every 3 years. You've got to commit to something. So I think it's on the Florida fan base to decide, are they going to have the patience? Are they willing to take a loyalty oath to their team? Is it true down with the old Gators play and all kinds of weather and all that stuff? It's just garbage if you just say it and don't mean it. So I'm looking for, maybe I'm wrong, but I see something like the LIV tour right now, and nobody cares about the LIV at this moment. They care about a guy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say LIV. We had a couple of texts here. I guess Brooks Koepka is going. I know his brother's going. It doesn't surprise me. I love Koepka. I love his game, but he's at that point where he never practices in the first place, and he's just going to take the check and go if it's true or not. Ruzoga State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit OgreInsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We have Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. You can listen to Buddy every Monday through Thursday on Facebook Live, 9 p.m. Got a couple of Facebook Lives we need to get to here, Buddy. Dan says, brought to you by Mellon Law, as successful as softball and baseball has been, it really should be a better atmosphere. Dan, softball is an outstanding atmosphere. That place is packed almost all the time. Brian says, I agree with Shane. We are witnessing an incredible era of UF baseball, and it's a complete afterthought for the students and administration. Yeah, it's to have the atmosphere, it's got to be the students, and students have never gotten into baseball at Florida, in my opinion, for whatever reason. That's what makes Starkville, Dudy Noble, Swayze Field, Ole Miss, Alex Box Stadium, and Baton Rouge. That's what makes those stadiums. Dan says, of all the friends I grew up and know in Florida, there's only one that has a kid going to Florida. It's just impossible to get in to the University of Florida these days. So, Buddy, back to the question of loyalty.
Can I just say, as a bulletin that just moved just now, you talked about it. Brooks Koepka is definitely leaving to go to the LIV. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. It's official.
Did they say how much he was getting?
No. Expect to announce the coming days. It's going to be in the first LIV event in the United States at Pumpkin Ridge in Portland, starting June 30th. So goodbye, Bruce.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. He competed at a very high level for 3 or 4 years, got married. Like I said, the word, he never practices, has, I think, 4 major championships under his belt. But he just seems like a guy who, give me my money, I'm just going to have a good time in life. I can't compete with these young guns. And he's still kind of young, but it's
32.
Crazy.
32. Yeah, I mean, look, he doesn't love the game. And it's okay.
No.
That's fine. Go get your money and get paid and good luck. But in the end, I like the young kid said when he won on Sunday, this is it. This means everything to him. This means more than $50 million or what it may be. You cannot put a price on what you're building as a legacy. And when you do go there, it's fine. Take the money, but just don't expect people to love you. I mean, don't expect your place in history to be reserved for you when you come back. You're going to be an afterthought. That's how quick it changes. Look, I said this last night, and I'll read the stat again. The last 5 major winners have been in their 20s. It's changing, Shane, and it's going to be a different game if he ever comes back. If he does, we'll see.
David says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, my rule as a fan is to support our team and coach until the guy we pay says it's time to change. My next rule is to not beat on our former coaches. None were perfect, and all want to win. And all kinds of weather means just that.
Good. Who said that, Dan?
David.
Good message. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that.
John asked, who do you think has the most loyal fan base? I look at someone like South Carolina or Mississippi State. I don't know what sport he's referring to. I don't think there's a more loyal fan base in America in baseball than Mississippi State. So, but anyway, buddy, real quick, I want to talk golf because you and I like to talk golf. Some people don't want to hear about it. We can get back to football here in a minute. But the U.S. Open, I said on your show last night, I thought it was the best golf tournament I've ever witnessed. It was at an unbelievable venue, the first country club in our history of the U.S. I didn't know a whole lot about it, learned about it with the different things they did during the telecast. What was interesting was, I don't know if you saw this part, the first African-American to ever attend Harvard University invented and had a patent on the golf tee. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I'm impressed that you found that out, Shane.
Well, I watched so much damn TV. I didn't miss 1 minute of it. But what's interesting is he never made any money off the golf tee, so he got screwed there. But you've been up to the Brookline area, to the country club. Why haven't they had more majors at that venue?
Good question. USGA works in mysterious ways sometimes. I don't know if it's money, I don't know what, but it's hard to imagine them having a more successful event. It was really I would give it a 10 out of 10 on what it represented in terms of the game. It certainly plays. It didn't favor the long hitters, although those guys can hit it a long way. It got back to accuracy. The tradition was wonderful. The history, as you talk about Francis Ouimet, he grew up there as a caddy, ultimately won it, walked across the fairway to go to school, that little house right there. And it's a great storyline. And after all, everything's powered by the storyline. They've had some. I can tell you this is not an easy place to get to. It'd be like if they had the U.S. Open in Micanopy. In terms of getting there, and even Micanopy's got some main arteries. I've driven. I said this last night. I remember being there. I think it was '88 when I was there when Curtis won playoff. And I remember the first day when we drove to the course, and there was a line of traffic. It looked like it was 5 or 6 miles long on a 2-lane road going to Brookline. And people were late. We waited in traffic. It took us like 2 hours. It took us like an hour and a half to fly there and 2 hours to get there. And the main reason was they didn't have the traffic control. I saw with my own eyes golfers getting out of their cars, grabbing their clubs and sprinting to the gate to get in and almost missing tee times. That might be one of the reasons, Shane. I don't know, but whatever it is, they need to do it more often.
Yeah, it's a unbelievable golf course, and it was just fascinating to watch. I really enjoyed it. We got a text on the Titan MR text line from Charles in Tampa. He says, how can I watch Buddy Martin's Gator Bait show? You can watch Buddy live on Monday, as I said, Monday through Thursday. He's live on Facebook at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Are you on all the other platforms too, Buddy?
We're on Twitter. We're on Twitter now, and we're about to go back up on YouTube. Brendan Martin, our basically founder and producer, who's been working on some things behind the scenes lately. We're going to have a few major announcements coming up the next couple. By the way, we're off next week, but thank you for asking. I don't do a very good job. And Freddie Weeby tells me this all the time, telling people how to get to us. We're on right now Facebook Live at 9 o'clock. If you come in and sign up, you'll get a notification that I'm just like your show, that we're on the air. And then Twitter, we're also on that, and we're going to be on the others soon. We're going back to YouTube and what have you. We'll do a better job of letting you know we're out there because we got a tremendous group of people. We're kind of a boutique. We're not going to ever be one of those big deals, but yeah. Thanks for asking. We're on Monday through Thursday, and Shane, you're good about reminding folks we're live Monday through Thursday, and Shane, of course, is with us on Monday nights always. He's leadoff man.
We got a text on the Titan MR text line from William. His question for you, Buddy, is, Buddy, do you think Gator fans, football fans mostly, are unrealistic?
Well, of course they are. They're fans, but you want them to they want them to believe in something, and you want them to believe their team is capable of winning it all. And they're naive. And of course, the thing is about fans, that's who they are. That's their personality. They're prickly. They get under your skin. They complain. They whine. Everybody has it. The question is, to what point do you say, stop this? Let's go forward with a new attitude. I mean, I'm even to a point where I'm wondering maybe you ought to ask people to take a pledge. Not that you can't be angry at somebody or not like the quarterback, whatever. But what are you about? What do you represent? What do you, and what is All Kinds of Weather to you? I mean, the Gator fan base has been special. It's also been fickle. And Shane, I remember when first started, you get tweets and you get angry about it. Now you just let water roll off your back. Say, okay, it's part of the deal. You know, you were the quarterback in Florida. Nobody gets more criticism than that. But I mean, it's what the fan base is about. It's always been since I've been a Gator fan 100 years ago. That's the way Gator fans are. But you got a great brand, you got a great program, you got a coach who could be a great coach. Opportunity exists now for Gator fans. I'm telling you, folks, get on board. Get on board.
Let me ask you this, buddy, because, I mean, this is always a topic. I think it doesn't matter what school you root for, but I'm thinking back. I mean, as you said, you've been covering the Gators for a long, long time. And it was always wait till next year, supposedly, was the talk.
Exactly.
You know, with no official titles of anything until Spurrier came along. My thought, and I think people have those expectations now because of the 7 SECs, the national title Spurrier won, obviously what Urban did. But what if, where would the fan base be today if neither one of those coaches ever came to the University of Florida and won anything?
Well, what would Alabama be without Bear Bryant and Nick Saban? I mean, it's kind of what it's about. It's kind of what it makes it what it is, the serendipity of that. It's absolutely right. I wrote a piece last week, and I've got part 2 of my Steve Spurrier. By the way, I had a chance to have a nice dinner up there. The Steve Spurrier question, Evan Graves, or brother of Ray Graves, what if he hadn't called his brother and says, the guy up here in Johnson City who's tearing it up, need to come know about him. And Ray Graves made 3 trips up to see Steve Spurrier. Where would Florida be without Steve Spurrier? Great question. And that 1990 you were part of something so special that they ought to build a statue to you for what you did there in 1990. You set the tone. You went in and you believed, Shane, and he believed. And I was standing right there that spring when someone says, who's going to be your starting quarterback? And he says, I don't know who it is, but whoever it is will lead the conference in passing. He got that right. It was you. You were 6th string, I think, at that time. You believed in something, and he believed in you, and I think that's what it's about. Believing in somebody is important. For me, as a young journalist, I want someone to believe in me. Players want someone to believe. I think that this coaching staff has a great ability to convey that conviction to players. We believe in you, son. Come play for us. We'll make you better. I think that is the essence of any good program.
John says on Facebook Live, we would be Kentucky if they never came here.
Yeah.
And John says also, if Nick Saban signs Drew Brees in Miami, Florida could have been the dynasty program, which is very true. Here's a good question before we let you go, buddy, from Chris. He says, brought to you by Melton Law on Facebook Live. Ask Buddy what he thinks about Bama's self-claimed national championships. How many natties have they actually won? But a bunch of schools back in the day used to just claim national championships, right?
Well, I mean, look, you didn't have a national championship. Keep in mind, this is how archaic it was not that long ago. The national championship was picked before the bowl games. How in the world could you do that? You know, there are also things like Alabama didn't get that ring one year. They should have gotten it. They called it the missing ring because people reacted to the racism. George Wallace was governor. There were some ugly things about the state, and Bear Bryant didn't use black players as much, although later he did, and he brought us some terrific players. Everybody knows the story of Sam Cunningham of Southern Cal. It might be blown, but yeah, I mean, look, it has to start somewhere with something. Let me just tell you this: before Florida came along, Kentucky had a pretty damn good program. They kind of got him Bear Bryant to coach there, by the way, and Kentucky won it with Babe Pirelli, was a great quarterback in Kentucky. They had Bob Gain. They had some great players back in the 40s and 50s. Florida would have loved to have been Kentucky because they couldn't beat Kentucky until later on. So, I would say it might be Mississippi State. No offense to you. That might be where it is. But the fact is that they didn't and they weren't. And you're here and you've got something to be proud of. And Shane, you had a big role in it. And I think it should be a question: do Gator fans really believe what they say? Are they really willing to be loyal? Is this all kinds of whether a phony baloney deal? What is it? I don't know. We'll find out.
Yep. All right. We got another Facebook Live here from PJ, brought to you by Mel Law. Hey, QB, I think Coach Napier can build a culture like Sam Pittman is building at Arkansas, where the players are completely sold out for his system and the program. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think? Mm-hmm. Look, I've said from day one, the first time I met Billy Napier, I believed right then he was the right guy. He is just a humble, down-to-earth, good old Georgia boy, been around football his whole life, learned from his dad. Look, when you learn how to coach football and how to deal with people at the high school level. There's nothing harder, and I respect high school coaches more than any coach out there. High school coaches influence their players more than any coach they'll ever have or any person they'll ever have. So I do think he's building a great culture. Now, will that translate into wins this year? I don't know. But I keep going back to year 3 will be very, very important. Buddy, we also had a couple of people have texted this. They keep asking, what is going on up in Louisville, Kentucky? I guess they're getting a bunch of 5-stars. I think, is Papa John's paying them?
I don't have any idea. I can't keep up with it. I got all I can handle right here. But there's going to be some of that. By the way, speaking of high school coaches, if I just may say this, your dad being one, you're right about the influence. I want to say RIP to the greatest high school football coach in Marion County history, Brent Hall, who won two state championships and recruited a couple of guys named Brantley, who later played at Florida, passed away over the weekend. He won the state championship in Forest in 74 and 75. And as the letter note said, he made a tremendous impact on countless lives across his coaching career and will be missed. Rest in peace, Coach Hall.
Yeah, no question about it. High school coaches, those are the coaches that high school football players remember the rest of their life. But did you see the note that Nick Faldo is getting out of broadcasting on CBS?
I did not see that.
I didn't read it all. I wonder if he's going to the league. I don't see him going over there, but who knows? So
they might have offered him $100 million to do the broadcast. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't figure. You know what, Shane? Let me leave you this note. You focus on the things that are on your plate, okay? Think about this. The Rashada thing is great news, but very quietly, Florida may pick off a 4-star pass rusher who was committed to UCF. Isaiah Nixon backed off of his commitment to UCF after his official visit. So there is somebody, a 4-star pass rusher. That's something to sneeze at. And maybe you don't get those 5s, but you get to keep getting those 4s. Things will come. And just remember, this offensive line, I call it girth and growth. These guys are big, they're strong, they're good. A couple of them are from here in Ocala. By the way, looks like they're going to Ocala's their go-to town, whether it's baseball or football these days.
Yeah, there's some good players there. There's no question about it. Buddy, who you got on the program tonight?
Got David Whitley coming up tonight, and we're going to their producer who's invented the phrase "One Sovereign Gator Nation," Brendan Martin, is going to return to the scene of the crime. I want to say we've got Sterling Thompson Thursday night. Ben and France and I do. We're talking about his future. He's going to get paid a lot of money, Shane.
Yeah, he's a really good baseball player. And I don't know if I asked you, and I mean, right now, Oklahoma and Ole Miss sit in the driver's seat. Who you got winning the College World Series?
I don't have anybody at this moment, but I even like this Auburn team. I know they're not going to probably get there, but I love that story. I guess Arkansas is out of the question now. I wouldn't be shocked if Oklahoma won.
They're not out of the question.
Well, okay.
Well, they've got to win a bunch of games.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Well, they got a long way to go. I'm going to go Oklahoma. I think the team Florida beat could be the national champion.
Yeah, they could be. Well, buddy, good stuff as always. We appreciate your time, and have a good week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Shane. Take care.
That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. Remember, you can listen to Buddy's program, The Buddy Martin Show, Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live. Take a quick time out, come back and get more text and Facebook Live questions and comments. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Point's where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Dave & Buster's, Regal Cinemas, Nike, Palmetto Moon, Medici's, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 2:30 you can get the hottest brunch in town. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. I want to again thank Buddy Martin for joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. I saw this stat from Skylar Wallace, softball player for the Florida Gators. As Tim Walton has stated, maybe the greatest football player he's ever coached. She's still got another year. But she is the only player in the history of the game to do this, have 70-plus hits in a year, score 70-plus runs, have over 50 RBIs, have over 50 stolen bases in a single season. And she also played three different positions, shortstop, second base, and first base. An extremely talented young lady and was an All-American. There's no question about it, but that's pretty remarkable. So look forward to watching her play again next year. Let's see. We just got a text on the Titan MR text line. Let me pull it up. And it comes from Tom in Nashville. He says, Shane, what do you think is the most important facet of the game for the Gators to win this year? I think he's assuming football, or I'm assuming football. Oh, that's a good question. Look, I've said Billy Napier's recipe for winning football games is protecting the football, number one, Number two, taking the football away, which the Gators have struggled the last few years. And his Louisiana teams had a lot of success getting turnovers and protecting the football. And don't do silly penalties, But I think it's going to be a running football team for the most part. I think they're going to keep it very simple for Anthony. We all know his talent. They got a stable of running backs that are very good. I think they're going to do a lot of RPO, which is simple, one-person reads. We're going to run the football. That will help the RPO game. Put the ball in the tailback's belly, ride it. If that flat defender or the outside backer or strong safety flows with the action, he pulls it and throws a slant right behind him. So very simple, get the ball out of your hands. I think they'll do some zone reads with him to use his running ability, but they ain't going to ask him to drop back and read a bunch of stuff. So, I've always said, when you got young quarterbacks, and he's still very, very young from a playing standpoint, they always have these teams that they're like, we got to be conservative. Let's throw hitches and slants and flat routes and swing routes. I totally disagree, because those are harder throws with all that congestion than throwing the ball deep. Throwing the ball deep is very, very safe. People don't understand that. But anytime when I was coaching and my starter got dinged or we had to put the backup in for a few plays, we chunked it deep, because that way he doesn't have to think. There's no thinking when you throw the ball deep. So that is that was a long answer for a question, but that's my thoughts on that. John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Since you mentioned Rashada, Miami had another QB commit yesterday. I think that bodes well for us. I did not know that. I know he took a visit down there. So I believe the four schools for him in the running were us, Miami, A&M, and Ole Miss, I believe. Andy says, well, John said first we had like 15 false starts. Just don't do stupid stuff. Amen. Andy says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, Gator swimming is world class. Katie Ledecky wins her second gold medal in the 1500 freestyle. Yeah, but Andy, there's an asterisk by that. She's like a volunteer coach training here. You can't consider her a Gator. I think she swam for Stanford, if I'm not mistaken, but she's a phenomenal swimmer. I think Caleb Dressel just continues to win everything he swims in, no question about it. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Doreen Weeby, a realtor with Caldwell Banker M.M. Parrish, will provide you with fast, friendly, and reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. If you missed it again, Ole Miss beats Arkansas. They sit undefeated in the College World Series. There's 2 elimination games today. An SEC a battle between Auburn and Arkansas, and then the other game is Notre Dame and Texas A&M. So 3 SEC teams are battling today in the College World Series. The Lightning stay alive with the win over the Avalanche. Game 4 will be Wednesday night down in Tampa. Let's see. I just got another Facebook Live. My phone is not working great today for some reason. Dan says on Facebook Live, Skylar Wallace is great. Plus, she hates Bama. If she transferred from Alabama for whatever reason, but does not like them. John says, what about in 1969 where the president declared the winner of the Texas-Arkansas game the national champ? Penn State was still unbeaten. I wasn't born then, John. I don't remember anything from back in those days. But, yeah, I know Ole Miss has a bunch of national titles in football back in the Johnny Vault days. But there really wasn't. It was all like a vote, or you just kind of declared yourself a national champion. Back to the Louisville recruiting, I have not followed that. This is the first that I've heard of it, so I don't know if they're getting a bunch of 5 stars or what. But remember, that stadium, I believe it's still named Papa John Stadium. And as far as I know, Papa John's is still in business. So maybe Papa John selling a bunch of pizzas as normal, and they're using that money to pay those players. So We shall see, but it's going to be interesting. I know a lot of Gator fans are anxious to see Jaden Rashada's decision, which I believe is going to be Sunday. So we can talk about that on Monday quite a bit. Let's take a final timeout, come back, get to this day in sports and some other texts. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi, Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, a number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. If you missed it, for all our golf fans, Brooks Koepka, four-time major champ, is now leaving the PGA Tour to join the LIV Tour. I was talking to some of my buddies last week. I just had a feeling he would. It's a personality. We talked about it earlier. He's not a guy who practices a lot. They're going to pay him a lot of money. I don't think he thinks. I mean, he's still a really good player. But I'm telling you, man, it's a different game. These young guys are just. If you're over the age of 30 or 32, 33, you just can't compete with these young guns. But I understand the LIV. It's all about the money. I mean, just come out and say, I'm taking the money to go play exhibition golf. Doesn't matter if I ever win another tournament. Doesn't matter if I shoot 85. There's no cut. It's just not golf, and it's not competitive golf, and you're not playing against the best players in the world. But it's hard to turn down $150, $200 million. So I get it. But it's kind of discouraging a little bit. And it bothers me for some reason. I don't know why. It just does. If you got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Got another text on the Titan MR text line from Bob. Bob says, Shane, do you know what time Jaden Rashada is doing his commitment? I do not. Some of our listeners may know. I would suggest just get on Twitter Sunday, and they'll probably let you know there. I know right now that on campus, a lot of one-day camps, they're having a lot of kids from around the country, obviously. For Gator football camps, they're going around. Every school is doing those now. So I remember when my son used to do the one-day camps to all the SEC schools. It was a good time. You get to see all the facilities, get to see the different campuses. And it was fun. Very tiring, but fun as well. This Day in Sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Beat the summer heat and schedule your air conditioners. Tune up today, keeping you chill in the Florida heat far away. Comfort Temp Heating and Air. Call us today at 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports, 1986. The 1985 Heisman Trophy winner, Bo Jackson, signs a 3-year contract to play baseball for the Kansas City Royals. Big Bo was a heck of a baseball player as well. Here's a quick question. Probably a little too late to throw it out there. Who's the best athlete of all time playing multiple professional sports? Is it Deion when he played football for the Falcons and baseball for the Braves? Or is it Bo when he played running back for the Raiders and outfield for the Royals? And, Bo was an unbelievable athlete. That hip injury, though, really cost him. But those are the two that I can think of. Brian Jordan played baseball for the Cardinals and played safety for the Falcons and had a lot of success. But I'm trying to think of who else did that. On Facebook Live here, Ryan says they got the number 1 running back, Reuben Owens. I think he's referring to, I guess, Louisville. David says there's so much money in Louisville. Yeah. Andy says on Facebook Live, Michael Jordan, even though not great at baseball, he wasn't great at baseball. Dan says Bo played in the All-Star game in football and baseball in the same year. That's pretty good. Jim Thorpe, he was a good one. So anyway, that's another topic for another day during this downtime in the summer. But we appreciate you guys joining our program today, commenting and asking questions. We thank Buddy Martin for joining the program as well. Make sure you tell all your friends and family to follow our program on Facebook Live, YouTube, Spotify, any of those social media platforms. We're on them. Got a text here from Phil on the Technomar text line before we get out of here. He says Dave Winfield was drafted in 4 leagues. He might be the best athlete. I knew he was a football, baseball guy. I guess, what were the other leagues there, Phil? But again, I'm not shocked Brooks Koepka's leaving, but I am a little bit. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's program, folks. It's summertime. Stay inside because it is extremely hot no matter where you are in this country. And make sure you tune in tomorrow. Have a great day. See you then. Take care.
Trying to get the fans fired up. 2nd down and 10. Matthews rolling to his right, in trouble. Can't find anyone. Now he throws it for Harrison Houston, who makes the catch. He's in the open field. Harrison to the 20. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators!